Your jaw starts aching before lunch. That should mean a bad tooth. In this factory, it may mean the job has found a door into your bones. The room is full of tiny wooden sticks, shallow trays, yellow paste, and girls trying not to breathe too deeply. Every match you touch will one day light a candle, a stove, a lamp, a gentleman's cigar. Very useful objects, very small flames. But before the flame belongs to them, the poison belongs to you. Today, you are a matchgirl in a 19th century match factory. Your job is to dip, dry, pack, and carry the little sticks that make fire cheap enough for everyone else to use without thinking about the mouth that paid for it. By the end of this day, you will understand why this job was not just dirty or badly paid. The worst part was not the flame. It was what happened before the match was ever struck. This is worked to death. We do not read history from a safe distance. We step inside it. And today, your job is to make fire while trying not to let it make a ruin of you. The shift begins with the smell. Not smoke, not burning wood. Something sharper, chemical, sour, bitter at the back of the throat. It sits in the room like an invisible foreman and checks every lung that enters. You take your place at the bench. The splints are stacked in bundles. Thousands of them. Clean, pale, harmless-looking little sticks. That is how danger often arrives. Small enough to look manageable. Beside you is the paste. That is the part nobody upstairs wants to imagine. White phosphorus could make matches easier to light, easier to sell, easier to carry into every home. It could also make the air around the dipping room into something your body remembered long after the shift ended. You pick up the frame. Dip, lift, shake, set aside. Again. Dip, lift, shake, set aside. The motion is simple enough to insult you. Anyone can understand it. That does not mean anyone should survive doing it all day. A girl beside you coughs into her sleeve. No one looks. Not because no one cares. Because everyone cares and no one can afford to prove it. The foreman walks behind the benches. He does not need to shout. The room already knows what he wants. Faster hands, fewer mistakes, fewer complaints, cleaner boxes, lower cost. A match breaks in your fingers. That may be a fine. Paste stains your skin. That is your problem. A bundle is crooked. That may be another fine. Wonderful system, really. The factory sells fire, and somehow you are the one burning money. By the first hour, your fingers are sticky. By the second, the smell has moved from the room into your head. By the third, your tongue tastes of something metallic, as if you have been licking coins from a grave. You are not supposed to put your fingers near your mouth. You know that. You also work with your hands all day in a room where the poison is on the tools, the bench, the sticks, the air, and probably the bread you brought for dinner. Cleanliness is easy to recommend from a room that does not make matches. At the break, you sit near the wall with your food. The bread is wrapped in cloth. It should taste like bread. It does not. Tastes like the factory has signed it. A younger worker asks whether the ache in her tooth means anything. The room changes. Only a little. A silence passes through the women at the bench, quick and practiced, like a hand moving over a candle flame. No one wants to say it first, because everyone knows the stories. A toothache that does not leave. Swelling. Pain in the jaw. The kind of illness people whisper about because naming it makes the room smaller. The cruel part is how ordinary it starts. Not with a scream. Not with a dramatic collapse. A toothache. A little swelling. A reason to keep working because surely it is nothing, and if it is something, you cannot afford for it to be something today. Be honest with yourself, not the comments. If your jaw started hurting in that room, would you tell the foreman and risk losing your place? Or would you press your tongue against the sore tooth and keep dipping? You do not get time to decide. The whistle ends the break. Back to the bench. Dip, lift, shake, set aside. Now every movement feels personal. The paste glows pale in the tray. The tiny sticks touch it and become useful. You touch it and become replaceable. That is the bargain. The factory does not need to hate you. It only needs you to be poor enough to come back tomorrow. By afternoon, your jaw aches again. You tell yourself it is the bread. A bad tooth. Cold air. Anything ordinary. Ordinary pain is comforting because it belongs to life, not to work. Then the worker beside you presses a cloth against her cheek. The foreman sees. For a moment, the whole room waits. He tells her to keep moving. There it is. The complete medical policy of the 19th century workplace, delivered in 3 words. She keeps moving. So do you. A tray slips at the far table. The paste smears across the floor. Everyone stiffens because fire is never far from a match factory. One careless spark, one lamp knocked wrong, one dry bundle in the wrong place, and the product you make for pennies can become the thing that eats the room. For 10 seconds, nobody breathes. Then the spill is cleared. The sticks are saved. The girls return to work. Notice the order. Sticks first. Girls second if there is time. Your hands are faster now because fear often improves productivity. Management has been enjoying that discovery for centuries. Boxes fill. Labels go on. The matches are packed into neat little promises. Light when struck, cheap enough for every kitchen, every candle, every shop, every man who wants his pipe without considering the chain of mouths behind the flame. Somewhere tonight, a mother will light a stove. A clerk will light a lamp. A rich man will light a cigar and complain that modern life has made things too expensive. He will hold a match for 1 second and never know that you held the poison for a day. That is the trick of small things. They disappear quickly enough to hide the labor inside them. Near the end of the shift, your jaw pulses again. Not pain exactly. A knock from inside. You keep your mouth closed. You pack another box. The worker with the cloth is gone from her bench now. No announcement. No drama. Just an empty space where a body was useful this morning. The foreman fills the gap with more work. That is how the factory mourns. By evening, you step outside and the air feels enormous. Dirty London air. Coal smoke. Horse stink. Wet street. Ordinary filth. Beautiful. The city smells terrible, but at least it is not the room. You should feel free. Instead, you touch your jaw. Gently. Once. Then again. A friend notices. You pretend you were fixing your scarf. Pride is cheaper than medicine, and unfortunately much easier to find. You walk home with match dust in your clothes and fire in your pockets that does not belong to you. The boxes you helped make will go out into the city. They will be useful, convenient, modern. Your ache goes home with you too. That is what made this job one of history's worst. Not that the work was repetitive. Not that the pay was low. Not even that the room could burn. It was terrible because the product gave everyone else instant fire while taking slow payment from the workers' bodies. A match is a tiny object. That is what makes it dangerous to remember properly. Because tiny objects feel innocent. A little stick, a quick flame, 1 second of light. But if something is cheap enough, someone else may have already paid the missing price. The match burns and disappears. The girl who made it does not. Put your price in the comments. 1 bench, 1 tray of phosphorus paste, 1 toothache you cannot afford to understand. How much would it take? If your honest answer is absolutely not, congratulations. Your jaw has made an excellent financial decision. Subscribe, like the video, and leave a single heart for the match girls who made fire cheap before anyone cared what it cost them. Costs nothing, but it helps bring the next worst job back from the dead.